G'day. Welcome to the sunny coast, bones and glitter and advertising. Lovely to have you all aboard. I'm Gregory, sometimes known as Craig. This one here, who's that?
It's CARO, back again.
And I'm Pro.
Hi, Pro.
I forgot my alias.
You can be Chantel.
I'm Chantel.
Hi, I'm Chantel. Hi. And of course, we've got our friend down in Melbourne. What's going on with you, my friend JD?
I'm just trying to stay warm. I'm very, very jealous. You put a little sunshine, a little greenery, a little bitty glamour to my day. I feel like you've perked me up.
Are definitely bringing the glamour, my boy. Here I am with a bucket hat and sunnies.
Holiday Craig's back.
I like the bucket hat though. I've got to say I'm a fan of the bucket hat. I can't wear one. I look like one of those cartoons of the old man koala who used to go around dispensing wisdom to the bush creatures. That's what I look like in a bucket hat. Yeah. So
you just appropriately described my look for right now as well. Anyway, it is another bone of advertising, and today we've got a little serious topic to talk about. JD, would you like to kick us off with a little? What are we talking about today?
The bone I'd like to pick is does advertising work, but in context of anti-gun ads from the United States.
Yeah, well, look, pretty topical, unfortunately, again at the moment, which is very sad to think that we're even going to talk about this, that it continues to happen. You know, it's extraordinary, but yep, I think it's definitely worth a conversation to get some opinions on it. And JD, the fact of does it actually work is it's an important thing to discuss. Like, what can we do that works?
Well, can I start with we're going to play I'll play two ads because they've tried to come at it from a whole lot of different angles. So one is the first one is an ad. I think it's called Musket. Anyway, you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's have a look.
The other one is called.
Oh, not right now. Sorry, JD, you keep going.
We'll go back to back.
Oh, we can. I know we can. And then, what? Anyway, and then we'll play. An ad called Teddy Bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's have a look.
Excuse me. Hey.
Teddy bears need to follow strict safety manufacturing guidelines, scores of safety regulations, 90 pages of requirements, numerous rules across federal and state regulatory bodies. Unless that teddy bear is a gun.
And to my mind, they're both great ads. They're both ads that make you go, "Oh, it's so big," and it makes you feel stuff. It makes so much sense. It gets you on side, and I reckon they fail. I'm going to go completely. I'm just going to start with a curmudgeonly John, and then I'll open it up. I'll form myself a straitjacket of my own logic, and then I'll escape from it miraculously, like a fucking Houdini. Before.
What do you guys? What do you ladies think of it?
Well, JD wants to.
Oh, okay.
Is that your full thoughts?
No, I'm happy to. But no. I think they're both terrific ads, and they will get people angry. But I think they talk to the converted. I think they talk to people who don't like guns.
Yeah.
And I think that's most of Australia. I think most Australian city dwellers don't like guns.
Yep.
You know, I think it's different if you live in the country and you've got to go and, you know, shoot a kangaroo or whatever. But yeah, that's not just the fact that I've merely said that sentence. It just sums up for you exactly how far inside the city I live. But I don't think they work because the greatest ads the gun lobby has in the United States is the feel of an AK-47 when you're down at the shooting range and you let a couple of rounds rip. The emotional, visceral connection between firing a gun and seeing something explode down, 40 meters away, I think is a much more powerful emotion than ads can hope to get up. But that's my thinking.
Ladies, what do you think?
I agree. I think they're both really great ads, and it kind of reminds me of what we spoke about last week with that beautiful little ad about women going back to work after having children, and the idea that it's a great awareness piece, but will it actually result in any type of action? I don't believe so from my point of view.
I agree. I think there's been anti-gun ads for decades and nothing's done anything to change the laws. So I think it's beyond the common man and their perception on guns. I think it's too far ingrained, I guess, in the American culture and perhaps politics over there that advertising can do as much as it can do, but I guess in a sense it can't really do anything at the same time. So
yeah. I mean, I think the sentiment of musket, I think that's what you called it, Johnny, the idea behind it was so clever and it's so on point that, here's this guy that's obviously gone into a setting that we just couldn't stand the thought of it happening, but he's there and he's only been able to get one round off, and luckily he misses because the guns were terrible back in the day. They were inaccurate, all of that, and that was really problematic. But not only that, it took him 7 minutes to reload the thing. So and that's when that gun law was made. So it was potentially appropriate then. I don't even know that it was, to be completely frank, that it was appropriate to the right to bear arms. But ultimately today, as you mentioned, JD, relative to a semi-automatic or automatic weapon and the ability to fire off, I don't know the number of rounds in a millisecond, and the impact rounds can have being so much more extraordinary than what was a ball bearing essentially in the beginning. I just think it really did show how outdated the thinking is, but not only that where Congress is at, to think that they are still back there and unable to change the perception of the public simply because it's so ingrained. And you're right on with that. The more powerful, the louder, the harder, and the bigger the impact, they seem to rally. It elevates their, I don't know whether it's their, dissemination among all of us, or whether it's, the purchase mentality that continues to happen. But how can anyone have an automatic weapon or a semi-automatic weapon? There's no need at all, other than people enforcing laws. In our view, I guess we're all on the same page there. The other one, the teddy bear one, I thought for me kind of fell a bit short. I didn't really feel it had anywhere near as much impact. I know the creativity behind it was quite clever, but I think, there was a bunch of other ones that we'll talk about. I was going to say
there was those great print ads about things that were outlawed in America for the child's protection. And it had like a child with a Kinder Surprise because, the toy inside was dangerous because they might swallow it and choke. And then the child next to them has a gun. And it just really simply shows like how ridiculous it is. Like, how does that make sense? I guess is the big thing.
It's a societal thing though. Like if you liken it to cigarettes and smoking, back in my parents' day, it was seen as cool and normal. And I feel like in the US, the outer states are starting to have that shift. And this is probably very generalist, but it's that hopefully generational, and over time and with lots and lots of education, that shift will start to happen the same way that cigarette smoking is now being seen as bad or a negative.
I think it's up to Congress, and they don't want to do it for a
And
particular.
they play the National Rifle Association plays an incredibly long game. They play like for 50 years ago, they started changing the meaning of the Second Amendment, or the interpretation of the Second Amendment in the Supreme Court. So it's gone from being the right to bear arms as part of a well-organised militia to the interpretation is now I'm allowed to carry a gun because I'd need to be able to defend myself and my property.
Yeah,
That to my mind, when you look at it from the perspective of us way over the other side of the world, it's like, well, they're two completely different things. You're either part of the army or you're firing off a few rounds in your backyard. Like, it's very, very different. But I think there is that. I think there is a sense of there's logic that the anti-gun movement seems to be using logic. And the gun lobby is saying, yeah, but how good does it feel to have a gun?
Yeah.
And I think the anti-gun lobby needs to start thinking about, don't look at it from an observational perspective of us looking in. What does it feel like to have a gun pointed at you? What does it feel like to be on the receiving? Like, you've got to be able to change the perception of what a gun is. I think
it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like, I've noticed since the tragedy that happened last week, a lot of, like, in the media and big personalities have come out, and they almost seem defeated instantly. They're like, why is this still happening? But it is still happening, but we all know deep down it's not going to change. So I don't know what it's going to take for it to change, really. It's kind of just
I thought the most poignant thing for me was to see the officer who lost a daughter in there, and to see how impacted he was as a dad, as a parent, as a man, as a human. I mean, I thought that was just extraordinary to see that reaction from someone in law enforcement who obviously needs to carry some kind of firearm in some sense. But I think, look, it's a really interesting topic, and one that I think we're all on the same page.
One, and it's a complex one.
How does it change?
Do you know what where that leads? Like, it's a very serious topic. Do you know what that leads me to?
Stop it. Are you doing a segue?
How do you slice a cucumber?
Oh, I love a Kardashian, though.
To knives.
Guns and knives. That's what we're talking about.
Look, Kardashian Inc. is the most incredible thing that has ever come to pass whatsoever.
Oh my God, it's an empire.
How all that happened and how they've managed to keep it going. I mean, more power to them. Clever human beings. And I am in awe of their talent, because, gosh, to be famous for being famous, but then to turn it into something so clever. Like, I'm not sure whether it was the mum or the daughters. But it's not even clever
as well. It's like they get more famous for the more dumb shit they do.
Once you amass a certain amount of wealth, it sort of just starts rolling down a hill and getting
the backhanded cucumber, I thought, from which one was it?
Kendall.
I'm like, Kendall, come on. Like, surely that was just but it wasn't. It wasn't like and then mum's in the background saying, get the chef to do it. I'm like, no, put the bloody thing in your other hand and cut the cucumber.
And then and then Kendall's come along and released a second video proving that she can actually cut a cucumber.
Go, Kendall.
I'm so glad.
Go, little lady.
I think the world can rest easy now.
Okay. That's a good news story.
I was also saying to the ladies the other day that I was driving in the car up here, and I happened to hear them talking about the fact that the Jenners, it was topical for them to go to the supermarket. Like, they haven't been to the supermarket with a trolley and being able to tap and pay. So, they were at the checkout, and, how do you actually tap and pay to be that, having not had the opportunity
from real life,
but also not being able to, because if you go anywhere, they're just swamped. Like,
true.
They couldn't do it. But just thinking that they were pumped being able to put their own shit in the trolley. I'm like, come and do my shopping.
When, like, however many decades ago, when Michael Jackson wanted to go shopping, and they had to close down the whole shopping complex, and he was like a little kid just skipping through the shops buying all this stuff because he'd never been able to do it. So
the three of you having to, on the success of the glittery bones of advertising, having to go to Queensland just to go to the beach.
We're doing research up here, buds.
Well, apparently a newsreader nearly got blown into the water down in Afghanistan today, my friend.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of people just taking their lives into their own hands, walking to the mailbox today.
Yeah, it's pretty woolly.
It's like
Pretty woolly.
9 degrees in this. Can you hear me above the rain? Can you? Oh, yeah, that's what it's like.
Loud and clear. There's not a cloud in the sky here, my boys.
Whisper of wind.
There's just a little chirp here and now, and that's
A
it.
hum? Is there a hum?
There's
I
a
think there
hum.
is. I can hear one. It's
Harmonics.
Alicia's got it.
Yeah, it's me this week, but this week we're rebranding it as Meow Monics.
Harmonics.
Oh,
Okay, one of Caro's favorite ads, just to give this context, is give it to us.
It's all right. It's a cat ad.
Give it to us.
I like chicken. I like liver. Meow mix, please deliver.
And then, of course, when Collingwood beat Carlton just recently, I was singing the theme song, and for some reason, out of the blue, we had someone else doing it with a meow. So we thought, meow away.
We would play Meow Monics. So I'm going to meow 3 different songs.
I would have thought I would have never heard that sentence before in my life.
Meow.
Gonna meow some footy team songs.
You may never hear it again, my boy.
Are they footy teams that you're meowing?
Yes.
Yeah,
footy
okay.
teams.
Let's go.
So there's 3 in the series.
Okay, let's go. I'm ready.
JD, this is for you because I know you're a footy fanatic. Meow, 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 meow.
I watched the Bombers fly up.
Diss me.
No, you got it.
You can have it, JD. 1 star for you.
All right, have a check. Meow, 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 meow.
Greatest team of all. We
Yay.
I think that's the greatest opening line of a footy song ever. I think the rest of it falls away. They set the bar very high right from the very get-go.
I agree.
The
Okay,
greatest
that's
team
you
of all.
two. Me none. You guys none.
Last one, number 3.
Okay.
JD could be 3 for 3. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Thanks.
No, it was the same.
Saints.
But I just got excited and said,
Oh, when the Saints.
Go marching in.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in. We're gonna go to the beach now.
I think we're done.
Because it's sunny where
That's
we
another
are.
episode of The Bones.
I'm just going to go.
Wrapping it up.
Wrapping this puppy up. We will see you all next week.
Don't go changing.
Bye.